Good morning. Sorry, this is a little bit. I've really been trying to get uh, um, it going as 9:30. I apologize for it being late. I mean, I know it's only 4 or 5 minutes late, but I was writing an email and I was not paying attention to the time. So, good morning. And I already have one eyeball in the sky. I think maybe. I don't know. Let me shut that window and maybe it might go away. All right. So, as always, say good morning as you're coming in. I'm just letting my tea seep. Actually, it's probably been seeping for too long because, well, I was writing an email. Okay. So I have a funny story. For good morning, Rob. So I have a funny story. Well, it's not funny. I think my response is funny. Whether it's responsible or not, I couldn't tell you. But so I, for all the new viewers, I used to work for a local hospital system in security, was there for a very, very long time. And then I recently put in my resignation. So come to find out yesterday, well, I found out this weekend, a guy who was working there, he had, I think I had like 3 months on him. Quiet guy, never really bothered anybody, came to work all the time. I remember when I worked swing shift, it was one of those where we tried to get him to go out because we were, at swing shift, we'd go out, we'd, have burgers and beers and just kind of, because we got off at 10:30 and on the weekends, 10:30 is the perfect time to go out. So at night, that's really good. So, and he'd always be like, oh yeah, I want to do it, but he never did. So that's fine. But this guy, super nice. Yeah, just a great, he's good people. Good people. So I find out that he quit over the weekend. He brought in his stuff and just put his shit down. Okay. True. That's so 10:30, I guess, is always a good time to go out, whether it's AM or PM. So anyway, I found out that he quit. He just brought in his stuff, put it down. And he goes, I'm done. For those of you who know, kind of know the situation, I'm not going to give any names, but this gentleman quit because he has a friend dying of cancer. Out here, they do the death with dignity thing. So he had put in a time off request, gone through the process, put on in a time off request to be like, hey, this is my best friend. He's dying of cancer, doing the death with dignity thing, and I want to be there for him. Okay. Surprise! They denied his request. Then he actually went to his supervisor, and he's one of those. He was kind of like me before in between working at the hospital, before I went back, working at a post with a single person. Me, I wasn't relieved or I didn't have to be relieved, and I didn't relieve anybody, but he's relieved by a night shift guy. But still, he doesn't have anybody else he works with. It's just a single man post. So he goes directly to his supervisor, who works at a different facility, and is like, look, this is what's going on. I really need this time off. And the supervisor is like, we don't have enough people. So denied. So he quit. He quit. Good for him, but sad he had to go the way he did. Now, I still have access to my work email because they never processed my resignation. That's another story. I'll get to that in a minute. So I instantly wanted to send another email, another Mish email, long-winded, but I was like, no, no, I'm not, I won't do it. So then my son comes to me last night and he tells me that, he's telling me more of the situation. So his supervisor, who is actually the supervisor on at the time that this gentleman normally works, was like, I can't believe he quit. He quit. Like, I can't believe that he didn't get time off for that. So he just turns to one of the on-calls and says, hey, so-and-so needs time off to be there for his dying friend. Can you work? And this on-call officer was like, absolutely. I would totally help him out. I would work a triple just to make sure that he had time off. Like, these are the type of guys that work in our department. People who care about each other. It's the management that doesn't fucking give a shit. So the supervisor, there are some good supervisors out there. His was not one of them. Anyway, so the swing shift supervisor calls this guy and he's like, don't quit. I have somebody to cover you. And so he was like, it's too late. I've already I've had to go to HR in the past to get PTO requests. Now, this guy has been working there for 3 months shorter than me. So he's making like, what was it was like 10.15 hours of PTO a paycheck. So essentially in 2 months, he's accrued over 40 hours of PTO. Okay. In 2 months, you can acquire. So, and if he's not like, if he was like me and not only taking his PTO when necessary, and also like me getting my PTO overlooked or denied, he's probably really close to maxing out on his PTO. So he's probably got, I don't know, he's got it. Now I'm not sure, but just if he had not been able to take his PTO, because having to go to HR to take PTO because it was denied within the department, that's not good. So, anyway, so he's probably really close to maxing out, which means he has at least 2 months worth of PTO. So I think you can max out, at least at our age level, the time frame being there, it's like 8, 9, maybe 10 weeks of PTO. So he's got, like, he leaves, he'll get a nice big check, tax the hell out of it by the government, but he won't, like, he actually has a couple months to look for a new job. So sad that he had to go that way, but it is what it is. So I hear that an email went out from his supervisor saying, oh yeah, let's read this. It says, name excluded, has decided to move on from the Providence Security Department. Oh, did I actually mention where I used to work? Fuck them. We wish him well. Thank you, name excluded, for your years of dedicated service. That came out from his supervisor. So hearing and actually reading it, because let's see, my resignation was not processed in a timely fashion, and I still get the fucking emails. So guess what I did? I responded. Oh yeah, I responded to all. And then made sure that Everybody in the department got this. So I said, name excluded, probably would not have quit if his PTO wasn't constantly denied, especially when he specifically asked to be by the side of his dying friend. See, this is exactly what I was talking about, referencing my previous tome. I know the department is short-staffed, but the officers have lives outside of Providence, and not getting the needed time off causes undue stress, especially when somebody is needing or wanting to be at the side of a loved one who is literally on their deathbed. Way to go, guys. You lost another one. Oh my God. Look at me. I make friends. I don't think Dale Carnegie actually had this in mind when he wrote How to Win Friends or How to, whatever that book is. How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's the book. I should make an extra chapter. Just be like, hey, this is the new age version. Yes, Rob, I agree. Downside of top-down management is everyone gets shit on. Well, here's the thing is that you have people in the department who don't, well, let's see. They don't care. Like, they just flat out don't care. Like, his supervisor didn't even try to find somebody. They just looked at the numbers and were like, yeah, we don't have anybody. Didn't even try, didn't even think about him as a person needing to be there for a loved one. Now here's the thing. If his loved one died, which, I mean, eventually he was going to die. I mean, they were doing the whole death with dignity thing, and he was going to be there when he died. But you get, let's see, not exactly, because he's a friend. It only actually applies to immediate family, which is parents, brothers, sisters, grandparents, or anybody. And I guess the way that the policy is written is that anybody you had like was meaningful in your life. So like an aunt, you could do an aunt, but like a best friend, according to policy, he wouldn't actually be able to get even bereavement time, and with that, like, I've just called up and be like, hey, I'm not coming in. So-and-so died, and it's sad that this guy that I work, he's such a good guy that he just never really, he wasn't really a command presence. Like for me, when my mom died, when I found out that she was in the ICU and she was not going to last very long, or the potential of her not lasting long was there. We were already short-staffed for the day. I was in charge, and my uncle called and was like, hey, you need to come to the hospital right now. I couldn't get anybody. I couldn't get my supervisor or any of my managers on the phone to say, I need somebody to come in, or, I need to leave. So I ended up just leaving a message and be like, so this is what's happening. You're not getting back to me. I'm leaving. And I was willing to take the consequences. Of course, at the time, I had a really good supervisor and I had a really good manager. So they were like, oh yeah, totally. Why didn't you leave the first time you called me? So yeah. But there's not all supervisors and managers at Providence suck. I actually I don't know if I had mentioned this. I actually had spoken, because I was debating about doing it or not. I'd actually spoken to my ex-manager about my departures. So I told him, I said, I'm not going to, it's not going to be one of those exit interviews where you're like, why didn't you come and talk to me before you left? It's like, no, this is, you suck as a manager. So if you want to hear me out and learn from it, then sure. And if you're trying, because apparently I started this conversation, obviously didn't go that far. It may have gone far, and I know I'm kind of jumping around. It may have gone far for my manager, because I actually hear that he responded well to my comments. Except I got to share this while I talk about that. So he may have received it well, but obviously other people in the department did not receive it well. So I've heard two things. I heard that he receives it well, and he's like, oh, hey, it is what it is. Or, and I want to make myself better. I care about my team. And then there's this response of, I take full responsibility. It's not my fault. So, which people have been like, well, yeah, he is getting better, but he is kind of taking that approach. So I find that humorous. But there are managers who, let's say, okay, not my ex-manager. I like him as a person. He's just a bad manager, and he has the potential to be a good manager. He just doesn't get any training. And it doesn't come naturally to him. The manager I had prior, when I was working out of the Lloyd Center office, he was hired during COVID. And the first time I heard or met him at all was one of those, hey, it's snowing out and I'm really happy you made it to work. Can I have any food delivered to you? Well, that's nice. And he had already been employed for like 6 months. But I'm like, he wanted to know if I wanted a pizza. And I was like, oh, I'd love a pizza. But that doesn't fit within my diet. So no. And he's like, well, I could have something else ordered for you. No, I can't really, because all of the things that he was listing off were like totally high carb shit I wouldn't eat in the first place, regardless of what my carb diet was. And he would know all of that if he had actually come to meet me when he got hired, but he never did, because Providence, as the global organization, said, you cannot be within 4 feet of, you have to work from home. My whole thing is if I'm being hired as a manager, I don't care what corporate says. I'm still going to go to your facility so I can at least see. You may not be able to give me a tour, but I can at least stand outside and say, hi, I'm your new manager. Is there anything I can do for you? So when I actually met him in person, he asked what he could do for me. And I actually told him to leave me alone because I was like, I don't mind doing little things, but don't micromanage me. I don't work well that way. So, and my previous supervisor there, he was okay. He just sucked as a supervisor, because these people are all out for themselves. The ones that are actually out for their team are the good ones. And it seems like the good ones come in, they don't stay very long, and they leave. All right, I see more people up there in the little eyeball thing there. Say hi. Hi. Okay. Steven, dude. Okay. Hey, Jason. Okay. So, Steven, did you hear that I'm not going to say his name, the Halsey evening shift guy quit. Did you hear that? I don't know if you were here when you did that. Now so Jason, so while you answer that, Jason is, he's an instructor out in, Florida. He's, on the Western side, I guess. Would you call that the Panhandle? I don't know. Okay. So Jason and I have, besides martial arts related, we, our business mentor is Brandon Beliso. And one of the things that Brandon always talks about when you're building your business, building your school, is to, what type of business would you want to work for? And it is that thought process that really soured me to my previous employer. So Stephen, since you're on here, I won't, well, I don't know if you ever read my really, really long email or heard about it, but I just want to, we'll recap this. So when the evening shift guy left from Halsey, Tina sent out, oh, did I say her name? Oh, darn. Tina sent out, said, name excluded, has decided to move on from the Providence Security Department. We wish him well. Thank you. Name excluded from the years of dedicated service. And then, so because my resignation hasn't been processed, I got and read that email and was able to respond. So I responded this morning. Name excluded, probably would not have quit if his PTO wasn't constantly denied, especially when he specifically asked to be on the side of his dying friend. See, this is exactly what I talked about. I know the department is short-staffed, but the officers have lives outside of Providence, and not getting the time off causes undue stress, especially when somebody is needing or wanting to be at the side of a loved one who is literally on their deathbed. Way to go, guys. You lost another one. So another famous Mish email. So, yes, Stephen, they lost another good officer. So, but it all goes back to what type of business do you want to work for and what you want to run. So, anyway, so I opened this morning's tea with that email and talking about the whole Providence system. And, but I've already gotten a couple text messages of, oh my gosh, I can't believe you sent that. I was thinking about sending out another, I thought about sending out another one, thanking my ex-manager for not processing my resignation in time, so I could then respond in a Mish fashion. I miss your emails and passion. Is truly a shame the route some of those individuals taken. Yes, it is unfortunate. And so we were basically just talking about, there are some good ones and some bad ones, but it is what it is. And I didn't really want to start off the tea in a negative format, but it actually was more of, guess what I did? So maybe not the most responsible thing, but I'm not employed there anymore. I don't really care. And it's funny because being a school owner, I try and be more, cautious of how I act in public and all that kind of stuff. But, honestly, when it comes to needing help and assistance from other people, I don't really need help or assistance from anybody that I would piss off in management, because they weren't on my side in the first place. And Stephen, also check your check your inbox on Facebook. So, or your notifications. You may have been invited to something. So there you go. But all right, so on to something completely different. Let's see, Star Trek. So, okay, let me go to Weekly View. So yesterday I mentioned I was kind of behind on some episodes, so I got some stuff in. Let's see what. Oh, here we go. Okay. Now, the Omega Directive, that was, this is all Voyager, by the way. Voyager is, they get this message for, with this Omega symbol, and it's a super secret thing that only captains know about. And apparently there's this molecule called the Omega molecule that destroys subspace, and it's like the worst thing on the planet or in the universe or galaxy, however you want to look at it. So at first, Janeway doesn't want to talk about it, but because 7 of 9 kind of knows and they need more help, they get everybody involved. Now, long story short, the aliens that created this new, their version of the Omega particle, they 7 of 9 was able to create like a way to harmonize them and then get them to sync and stabilize. And when she actually sees it, it's perfection. It was an okay episode, not the greatest, definitely filler. Why haven't we ever heard anything related to it all about the Omega Directive? Like it was kind of this thing from left field. So, I don't know. And in fact, here's the thing. Like some of these episodes, I've seen them so much, but I don't remember that episode. And talking about episodes I don't remember, there's an episode called Unforgettable. This is an alien race. This one gal, she's telling Chakotay that she was on Voyager for like 2 months or 2 weeks. She fell in love with him, or they fell in love, but because he doesn't remember her, is because they give off pheromones that actually make them forgettable after like a couple hours. So I forgot that this episode existed, and I kind of wish I hadn't watched it. It was actually kind of a dumb episode. Living Witness, the next one, that was what was it? That was the one where a backup of the Doctor is taken. See, I start talking Star Trek and people start disappearing, but that's okay. That's okay. The Living Witness, that was the one where the Doctor's hologram is put into like some backup and it was stolen, and he finds himself like 700 years in the future, and on this one planet. And so what was it? And essentially the race is one race is telling the story. Like it's almost like a play on how we potentially are getting history wrong, because of course the victors tell the story. And it was how Voyager impacted the race relations between these two planets, and how one was actually better than the other. But the real story was reversed, because it was the Doctor who kind of brought it all to life. And so this all ends up, they're playing it. This is like 700 years in the future. So what is it? But this is one thing that I think that they established at the end of the episode, and I'm sorry, my brain is kind of scattered now. They established at the end of the episode that the Doctor remained on. The Doctor remained for many years as their chief historian, or I can't remember. It was late when I finished the episode, but then he left in his own shuttlecraft to then go back to the Alpha Quadrant. So if this is 700 years in the future, 7-ish 100 years in the future, and he stayed for longer, so we don't know how long he stayed. We're looking at a potential. We like if Discovery was on point, they could technically bring the Doctor into that series if they wanted. Yeah, that's exactly. Hello? Like, they're totally opening up, and they could totally continue a story. Just have like one episode where he's like, he does like he's running, like he's like the chief medical of Starfleet or some shit like that. I don't know, but there's just a way to add that in there. Okay. The Omega Directive was meant as a practical joke to be played on the Vulcans after several top brass in Starfleet got super drunk. Unfortunately, they were actually blackout drunk and don't remember it. So it has to be real, right? Oh my gosh. Rob, I love you. Good morning, Thomas. Yeah, so what is it? Living Witness. That I actually kind of like that episode. I mean, not the greatest. It does have some merit. I mean, even the merit of the story of the victors. And in fact, there's actually a line. There's a line in there where one guy from one race is talking to the main guy, curator of this museum. And he's like, oh, well, what if history tells a different story? And he's like, well, then we'll just change, like he was like, yeah, no, if history does tell a different story, if we get something new, we were just guessing, but if we get something new that is more accurate and more, then that's what we'll do. Which I kind of liked. I mean, it was definitely saying, hey, and I think that speaks a lot to what's going on now. And even with that main, like the curator's character, like he was resistant to hear different information than in the beginning. He was like, it's like, no, this is not how I remember it, but this is I've done all my studies. This is what I think. But it's one of those where he was challenged himself to change the narrative because his narrative originally was wrong. And so that, I think, is very indicative of what's going on now in the world. And you could look at it from really any perspective, but it's like it was like, take critical race theory. I mean, I think that history should be taught the way, like correct history, but let's get history right. So I think I personally think the way that they're going about and the term critical race theory I think they're going about that the wrong way. But when you're writing history, when you're learning history, yes, you should learn history. Whether the white people were wrong or not, whether the black people were wrong or not, whether the yellow people or the purple people, or the purple people, was it polka dotted purple people eater? Okay, so if one of the things that we don't do as a human race is learn from our history, because history repeats itself. Battlestar Galactica. What do they keep on saying? What happened before will happen again. Hello? Shit, if we don't learn from the stuff that we did in the past, we will repeat those mistakes in the future. But what do we need? We need a correct future. One-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. There we go. Anyway, so yeah, I think this it was an interesting episode to tell a good story, and I think it still has value today, specifically today. Yeah, it was a very Gene Roddenberry episode where we see the societal struggle, and the end result, which is positive, comes from that humanistic, or comes from a humanistic outlook. Yeah, I thought it was well done. Let's see. Episode 92, Demon. This is, I did not finish this episode. I fell asleep on the episode upstairs, and I tried to rewatch it when I couldn't, when I finally went downstairs, couldn't get back to sleep. So I turned the episode back on. This is, they find a Y-class planet, which they call a demon planet. And first Harry and what's his name? Tom beam down to the planet. Harry gets sucked into, because they're looking for some type of fuel. Can't remember. It starts with a D, I think. Anyway, so they look for this one type of fuel. They get down there, and Harry falls in this metal liquid, and he goes, "Oh, I can't." He says, I was reaching over to do some type of sample, and it was almost like I was pulled in. No, not dilithium. It was like deuteronium. I can't shoot. It wasn't dilithium. I know that, but it did start with a D. But anyway, and then all of a sudden his environmental suit goes haywire, and they're trying to get back to the shuttle. And then Tom, you kind of see like this little, like the liquid, like seep into his uniform. Deuterium. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know how it's spelled, but probably yes. Yeah. Yes. I would guess that. And then of course it's like, oh, well, your environmental suit is, losing oxygen in like 10, 15 seconds. So then they actually Voyager actually ends up landing on the planet. They go looking, I think this is kind of where I started to fall asleep, but they start looking for, I think it was Seven and Tuvok in their environmental spacesuits. And they ended up, something ends up happening, and all of a sudden Tom shows up and pulls them out of danger, but he's not in his EV suit. So Yeah. I think that this is, now I don't know if this is I don't know if, so there was an episode, and I don't know if it was connected to this episode, like as being as part of the same episode, or if it was an episode later on. But there's an episode where, and the only reason I'm saying this is because I fell asleep. I don't know the ending of the episode. All I know is I think this is connected to either later on in the episode or a previous episode where, or not a previous episode, an episode in the future, where they have all of a sudden, like, the ship is starting to dissolve and they're having all these issues. And then you kind of realize, wait a minute, they're from this planet back then. So yeah. So I'm not exactly sure how the episode ends, but it may end that way, and it may they may have just connected this episode with a future episode. I don't know. Maybe I should actually finish watching the episode. I don't know. So, and that's kind of as far as I got. I am still behind because that was, let's just say I haven't watched that entire episode. Still 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5, 6 episodes for tonight. Let's see. I think you're right. I think that is the episode where they tie together. Yeah. I just don't know if this is I think it's 2 separate episodes. I think they were like, oh, hey, let's write an episode. Oh, guess what? We can play off that one, which is smart writing because you're expanding the universe, continuing a storyline that you really didn't know was there. And that's why we need to see the Doctor in Discovery, even as a cameo. I think we need to do that. Okay. Let's see. It is, but I think it is the original episode. Oh, you think it's all tied together in one? No. I don't know. I'll have to watch the whole episode. Okay, so birthdays today. Doug Jones. Doug Jones plays Saru. Oh, a 2-parter. Oh. Okay. I don't know. Maybe we'll just have to watch. Okay. No, I get it, but I don't think it's a part 1 and part 2. I think it's, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to watch. It is what it is. But I don't know what that episode is called because the next episode in line is 1. But today, Doug Jones, he plays Saru in Discovery. So he is 62 today. And I know he's done a bunch of other creature stuff. But in Star Trek, he plays Captain Saru. Let's see. Let's go to, do I have any Facebook friends who are having birthdays that I need to call out? I have a friend request. A new friend request. Jason Brick. Who is that? Oh, I know who that is. Respond. Confirm. Okay, I know who Jason is. Jason's good people. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Sorry. Okay, birthdays. And I got to set that down. Nope, no birthdays today. We got birthdays tomorrow. But no birthdays today. Let's see. Okay. Martial arts, more martial arts. Oh, all right. So this is why, all right. So looked it up. Demon is season 4. Follow-up episode is Oblivion's in season 5. Okay. But here's the thing is that did they plan to make an episode? Was there a plan for a follow-up episode? Was this, hey, let's write this episode and then like just mental note for a future season, do a follow-up episode? Or were they in season 5 trying to come up with episodes and go, hey, we wrote this one back in season 4 and I think we could totally play off of this episode. So here we go. Maybe not. Okay. So, more sci-fi. What is coming up in 3 days? 3 days. Yes. Not Star Trek related, Star Wars related. We are looking at Obi-Wan on Friday. It's going to be freaking fantastic. 2 episodes. It's going to be amazing. I'm really looking forward to it. Now, martial arts wise, nothing really new to report. Well, kind of. So I get these phone calls and they're, it's like, oh, hey, do you want to take part in this? And I'm like, well, I'm always open to new ideas on promoting the school and doing all this kind of stuff. And, and I was like, this is it's one of those where it's a virtual, what is it? It's a virtual, oh God, I can't remember. So they have there's these seminars and not just martial arts related, just business related. I'm a speaker. I'm trying to sell a bigger project. And so I send out tickets to people and then you come, it's free of charge, no obligation. I will feed you. You might get a prize while you're there, but essentially it's a live infomercial. And so I get this call from this one company and I've gotten a call from them in the past. I'm like, no, I'm not interested. Because the people that I've talked to refuse to tell me who the speaker is. Well, it's a martial artist. They have 40 years of experience in the industry. Okay. Who is it? Well, I can't give you their name. Really? Why? So I just tell them, if you can't tell me who the speaker is, I'm not interested. That tells me you're trying to sell me something. So I get this call last week, same deal, because I answer every phone call that comes in, even if it says telemarketer. So I was like, okay, well, I said, I've gotten phone calls before. Who is it? Who's the speaker? And so they say, what'd they say? They said, her name was Deanna. And I'm like, Deanna who? Can you give me a last name? What's the company? So I'm actually looking at the company and I see that it's a marketing company. So I'm like, so I asked him, I said, is this basically a virtual, you're trying to sell me a product type thing? No, we're not trying to sell you anything. We just want you to listen. I'm like, okay, whatever. But he actually gave me this gal's name and the company. Like, she ran Red Dragon Karate. I guess it's internationally known. And he was like, have you ever heard of this? I'm like, actually, no, I haven't. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. Okay, whatever. So he tells me that I'm going to be in this group, and she'll be giving the presentation, but I won't be the only one there. And but surprise, I was the only one there. So I had some very direct questions, and she had like, you know, since I decided to take part, he asked me a couple questions. So she was already kind of prefaced, you know, she kind of already knew a little bit. But what this company didn't do is they didn't do their homework on me. Like, they're trying to get me in there. So when she says, now, what's your school's name? And I said, Artisan Martial Arts. And I was actually wearing an Artisan t-shirt. And she goes, oh, I have a different school name. And I said, well, what do you have? And so she's, you know, told me Handworker Martial Arts. And I said, oh, well, that's an old name. So I rebranded, you know. So we talked about that. Gal's really nice, but yes, what were they doing? They were selling me something. I actually am probably not going to buy into the product because I've already kind of spent too much money, wasted too much money. Yes, that one was pointed at you. Postcard Mania. Had to think. I couldn't remember the name there for a second. So anyway, so I told her I was apprehensive. They're making this really sweet deal. It's actually not a lot of money for the product, you know, for what they're offering. I just don't know how it's going to blend for me and if it fits within my why. So that's kind of a big thing. And I don't know if Jason is still on here or not. The numbers have gone up and down, but when it's important to me to promote my school from my why and from my purpose. I don't like a lot of the ways that things market. I think a lot of it is unethical. Just like this. They're like, no, we don't want to sell you a product. We just want you to listen. I mean, granted, I mean, that's true. They're not lying to me, but yes, they are trying to sell me a product. Now, it's not a tangible product. It's a service, and it's a service that might actually do me well. Now, they do have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So, you know, there's I can't remember what this, and they're taking this huge discount off of the whatchamacallit price, of the registration price and of the monthly price. But if it doesn't work for me after 30 days or I'm not seeing any result, money back guarantee. I have to do these, what is it? It's I want to call them workshops, but it's basically kind of my one-on-one. So like, if I do it, I'm assigned to a person and I have to have my 2 meetings with them. And so, you know, we can get things working, and I have to do different stuff. I just don't know. But some of the things that they talked about, because I told her, I was like, I actually already have like their stuff. It's all about marketing. And I'm like, okay, so there's this marketing thing, but is it like that separate, that, okay, we're marketing, we get that person, and then I tell that person, okay, here's how you register, and they can register with my own system? Or is it a different registration system. And she goes, oh, you have a registration system? I was like, yeah. She wasn't listening. So we talked about that. Something that I built myself using a couple different software programs that all work together, but they work for me. So, but yeah, I'm debating. It's the 30-day money back guarantee that I'm kind of has me like, I should try it. Martial arts Amway. That's pretty good. No, but I kind of got that. I didn't really get the Amway feel. Q-Show International, definitely an Amway feel. And at least in the beginning, when Jack put his thing together for Q-Show certification, definitely gave me an Amway feel. So, but yeah, so I don't know. It's the 30-day money back guarantee that I'm like, I could try it. Like I could put out this money, but so anyway, I got to talk to, I still got to talk to the wife, got to make sure that she, she's okay with it. Yeah. And then, let's see, things coming up. We've got, what's it called? We've got, the lab this weekend for for Rory's lab, training lab. We've got my camp coming up. It's not a camp. It's more of a seminar. When it gets to 2 days, I'll start calling it a camp. I think I mentioned that yesterday. More Star Trek to watch. It's only Tuesday. Jeez. I did send out a newsletter yesterday. This is kind of, okay. So I've been collecting emails as people register for stuff and all kinds of stuff. And I put them into my mailing list so I can send stuff out. And I forgot to update with the most recent emails some of these, some of the seminar stuff. And so some people didn't get the most recent newsletter promoting my my seminar. So that sucks. I shake my head. But I did do, I got everything online for, I mentioned that yesterday, for a summer camp. Got that online, updated my website. Ooh, one thing I did add yesterday to my website was a Facebook chat so when you go on, there's a little logo on the bottom that says chat, and then you can chat through Messenger. The only thing is that when they do that, because it's a business page, I had to do it through the Meta Business app. And so it'll work through Messenger. I mean, it uses Messenger, but it doesn't, but because it's a page, it uses this other app, which I then had to turn on notifications for, because I don't have notifications turned on for Facebook or anything like that. But if I want to get messages from the website, I have to do that. So we'll see how that, helps in communication from off the website, which I think it's funny because I did get this morning an email, not an email, but messages from this one guy who is, what's it called? He sells, he does knives for Bram. He's out of Pakistan, makes beautiful knives. So anyway, he sent me a shit ton of photos saying, do you want to buy from me? Okay. he's trying to promote his business. Shameless plug. Great. But I don't know. I got to talk to Bram, see if this is the same guy, because for Bram's 70th, we're putting together a big thing, and I need to talk to this guy about pricing, because I can't get a straight answer from some people. So anyway, there you go. Yeah, that's, oh shoot, I've been talking for an hour. See what happens? Just get me talking. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. So all of you have a wonderful day. I'm going to finish up my last little drop of tea here. And don't forget, seminars coming up. I should really make a list. Just haven't done that yet. And there you go. So be safe, live long and prosper. And I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning or afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Take it easy.